There's been this interesting question in the area of leadership that's been around probably as long as leadership has been around, and that is, are great leaders born? They just have an innate giftedness to leadership. It's something they just have. Or are they developed? Can they be made? Can that competency of leadership be nurtured over time? What I'd like to do is share for the next couple of minutes some interesting research in the area of child prodigies and some observations about the poster boy of child prodigies, Mozart, that have been made that I think impact how we think about this same question in leadership, about development. Is there a giftedness to children who are exceptional in some area of performance, or can they be made? Can they be developed over time? There was a group of researchers out of Carnegie Mellon a few years ago, led by a professor named Anders Ericsson, who went over to Germany to study this question with respect to young musicians, world-class young musicians. And so they did a study there of pianists and violinists who were in their early 20s at the Music Academy of West Berlin in Germany. And what they did, the approach they used, was to take these young, exceptional students and segment them into three groups. So they used the professors to determine, let's find the group that's the most exceptional. These students would probably end up being international soloists. Then take the next most exceptional group, and then finally the least exceptional, those that would probably end up being music teachers. And let's take a look. Let's segment these groups and take a look at what is behind the giftedness that they have and the exceptional skills that they have, although now having been segmented into three groups. The differentiator that they expected to see was that they did have this giftedness. They were born with it. They had some special talent that was recognized at a very early age that was just in the form of a gift. But what they found when they did the research was a real surprise. The finding was that the best musicians simply practiced more. They looked back, they had each one of the students go back and estimate the total number of hours of lifetime practice that they had put into their instrument since they started at a young age. They also had them fill out diaries to try to confirm these observations of just how much time were the different groups spending in practicing their particular instrument. And what they found was that for each one of these groups, they roughly had 10,000, 8,000, and 5,000 hours of accumulated lifetime practice on their instrument. And that's what caused this segmentation. That's what allowed them to fall into the most exceptional, next most exceptional, or the least exceptional groups. It was simply practice. That was the real differentiator. This group of researchers has gone on and applied the same sort of approach to a number of other disciplines, and they found that the same rough number of accumulated hours of lifetime practice applies to grand chess masters. So they studied them and said from the time they first learned the basic moves of chess to when they qualified to be a grand master, how much time did they put in? And it was about 10,000 hours. They found the same thing true with great athletes, world-class athletes, with writers, with scientists. So there's this growing body of evidence that supports what we've been talking about today of the importance of practice. If you're a leader, practice is really critical, and you need to put in the time doing that in order to develop your skills and your effectiveness.